Hey guys, this is Alfred back with another video, and in today's video I will be giving you guys my tips and tricks of how to play Dot. Now with the release of Hysolence and with the rerun of Kafka, many people will be playing Dot once again, and in my opinion I feel like Hoyoverse is going to push this narrative and going to introduce more bosses cater for Dot. So because of that, I hope that new players will get into this Dot team, and hopefully you will be able to learn something whether you are new to Dot or whether you are an old player and have played Dot before. Now in this video I'll be covering 4 parts. The first part will be a general game plan, followed by team comps, relics, and finally the best Lightcones to choose for your team comps. With all that said, let's begin with this video. What is the general game plan for a Dot team? Now it's pretty straightforward. Generally speaking, you want to be dealing damage over time. To do that, you will be running nihility characters who can inflict this status on the enemy. Not all nihility characters can do this, so do take note for that case. But for those that can do, your general game plan is to basically inflict as much as possible so you're able to do as much damage when the enemy takes their turn. And obviously it will not only be when they take their turn. Certain characters you are able to proc the DOT even when it's not their turn. So I'll be talking about that later as well in the team comp section. So generally speaking, you want to run 2 characters minimum that can synergize and proc DOT. One type of duty itself is not enough. Generally you want 2. You definitely want a sustain character to sustain in case you're going to be going for longer fights. And for the third character, honestly it's super flexible. You can look for something like another Dot character, or you can look for a sub DPS or harmony character, which I'll explain in just a bit. Now for the team comps, there are a few characters that are very good. Let's first talk about the characters you want to run for Dot itself. Now the first character I want to talk about is going to be Hysolence. With the release of Hysolence, she is the best Dot DPS we have right now in the game. She does a lot of damage and she also quote-unquote enables her team, but because of the amount of damage she does and the amount of utility she provides with her skill and her ultimate just makes Hysolence a perfect character for a Dot team. Now the existing Dot characters, Black Swan and Xiaochu, are also pretty decent depending on the enemy's weakness. Kafka is also a very essential piece in a Dot team. Her role has changed from a DPS to more of an enabler. You want to just basically run her as the cherry on top, but she is still very crucial and in my opinion will be the core piece in a Dot team. So most of your Dot teams will have Hysolence and Kafka, with the last 2 characters being flexible based on what you have. Just remember, even though you have Black Swan and Xiaochu, Kafka is still very important alongside with Hysolence. Obviously if you don't have Hysolence, you can just easily play Black Swan and Xiaochu, and if the enemy does not have a physical weakness, you don't have to force yourself to play Hysolence just to play for a Dot team. Now for the sustain role, you basically want to look for characters who are skill point friendly. Most of the time that will be healers that will be replenishing your health, but you can easily run tanks as well, especially Adventuring who can do some decent damage. But the one that I recommend the most is going to be Huohuo. Huohuo does a lot of healing, and on top of that her ultimate recharges the ultimate, which is just fantastic. Remember, Dot teams are very ultimate hungry. You need a lot of energy in order to do a lot of damage. If you don't have Huohuo, you can look for something like Hyacinth or Gallagher, who are the most skill point friendly characters, especially for abundance in the game right now. For harmony characters, because Dot doesn't have a dedicated Dot harmony character, technically speaking you can just run any harmony character, but there are a few which stand out from the others. The first one I want to talk about is going to be Ranmei. At the time of recording, Ranmei is currently the best harmony character you want to play in a Dot team. The amount of amplification and respan she provides is just very good, and what is the main selling point for her in a Dot team is her break efficiency. If you don't know, if you break an enemy's weakness, you do put a dot on them as well, so that is another additional dot, and on top of that also delays the enemy's action, which is just very fantastic for a Dot team. Overall, Ranmei super solid pick for a Dot team. If you're going to look for more AoE content, let's say you are playing in pure fiction, technically you can also bring Tribi. Tribi has a lot of decent amplification and her AoE as well is very good. On top of that, her ultimate as well also boosts the action for your team. So overall, really solid character if you are playing your Dot team in AoE environments. And lastly, technically you can also play Robin. Robin has a lot of buffs as well and will also give that massive speed boost, making your team take another interaction, which is very good for dot teams. You also have a little bit of synergy with Kafka's follow-up, so that is a little bonus, but honestly it is not that much, but overall still something you can pick for the harmony section. And the last type of characters you can technically flex in are going to be your nihility flex characters. Now the two characters I'm more specifically talking about is going to be Cypher and Acheron. Both characters are nihility, but both characters do not do DOT. Now the main driving force for why you would want to run them in a DOT team is to basically kill the big bosses. As you know, for nihility teams, most of them do not do a lot of damage to big bosses. Well, you kind of do, but you take very long. So in order to kill them faster, let's say you are playing in Apocalyptic Shadow or you are playing in Memory of Chaos where you want to finish the boss as fast as possible, normally you could run something like Acheron or Cypher to kill off the bosses and finish them off faster. So that is also an option. They aren't so good for pure fiction or AoE game modes, so I wouldn't run them there. But if you need that little bit of damage boost and you really need a little bit of oomph in order to complete the goals and get that 3 stars, you can definitely run these solid nihility characters. Now moving on to relics, this one is really easy. For your standard dot characters, there is only one relic set which really synergizes well with dot. That is going to be the Prisoner in Deep Confinement set. This set increases your attack and will also make the dot ignore the target's defense when you're doing damage to them, which is very good. So you want to be running this on your Hysolence, your Black Swan, and your Xiao Chu. For Kafka, it's going to be a little bit different because right now Kafka does not want to mostly focus on her damage. Instead, you want to be more focused on building speed and building effect hit rates so that you're able to proc as much of the dot as possible. Because of this, the ideal set you want to run on Kafka is actually going to be the Eagle of Twilight line. Yes, you're not able to use the wind damage, which is the 2-piece set, but the 4-piece makes it so that when you use your ultimate, your action will actually advance forward, which is really good. Now, it's not 100% advance forward, but just making your Kafka take more turns means you're able to proc your team's dot more often, meaning you're able to do more damage. So this will be the ideal set for Kafka. Obviously, if you do not have a good 4-piece set for her right now, you can just mix and match any of the 2-piece speed sets and you will be completely fine. Now for the planetary sets or the planetary ornaments, very straightforward. Similar to the relics, there is only one set that does scale with dot, which is the Revelry by C set. This set will increase your attack, generally what dot characters want, and will also increase your dot damage, which is just fantastic. Now for Kafka, once again, you can also flex another set, which is the Lushaka set. This set will increase your energy recharge, and if your Kafka isn't the first character in your team, which most of the time you want to put your main DPS, so it's going to be either your Black Swan, Xiao Chu, or your Hysolence, you will also increase their attack by another 12%. Generally speaking, if you are building more of a support Kafka, which will be the case for most dot teams nowadays, then this set will be very good. Just buffing your main dot damage dealer will be much better than buffing Kafka herself. Now I also want to mention this, but for main stats and for substats, it's very important to note that DOT does not crit. So any crit stats you build in your relics or your planetary ornaments will completely be wasted. So instead, you want to be focusing more on attack, speed, and effect hit rate. Now it's very important as well, if you are playing Kafka in a dot team, which you should be, that you hit the 75% effect hit rate for your main dot dealing characters. Now this is because of Kafka's second trace, which will increase our allies attack by a whopping 100%. So this is super good, and honestly this trace is very absurd, and because of that you really want to aim for that 75% effect hit rate in order to get this 100% attack. And to top it off, you also do want to hit the certain speed breakpoints and the speed thresholds in order for you to proc your dots and do as much damage to the enemy as well. Now finally, we are going to be talking about light cones. This is also really easy. Generally speaking, each of the characters just want their signature light cone. That tends to be their best one. Another light cone you can technically go, which is not their signature, is going to be Xiao Chu's signature light cone. This light cone gives a huge effect hit rate increase, which is insane, and if you are lacking in the effect hit rate department, you can definitely use this light cone. It will help you in hitting that 75% threshold. Now for Kafka, once again, because her kit changed, her signature light cone is actually not her best. Her best light cone now is going to be the Cypher light cone, Lies Dance on the Breeze. This set increases her speed, which is what she wants, and will also have their enemies' defense shredded whenever they are inflicted with the bamboozle state, which is not that hard to inflict. You just basically have to do damage to them. And this is a more supportive set. Like I said, Kafka now has become more of an enabler than a main DPS, so you probably want to run something like this instead of her signature Lightcone. But obviously, if you have her signature Lightcone and you don't have the other better options, running the signature Lightcone is also pretty good. Now, for more free-to-play options, the best 4-star Lightcone that everyone knows is going to be the Eyes of Prey. This Lightcone increases your effect hit rate, once again really crucial in order to hit Kafka's bonus, and will also increase your dot. So if you don't have any of the 5-star Lightcones, you can technically go this Lightcone as well. The Herda Shop Lightcone, Solitary Healing, is also a very decent Lightcone. It is a 5-star Lightcone, so you'll generally be able to get more stats than a 4-star Lightcone. Increases your break effect, which is whatever for dot. If you run this with a Ronmei in your team, it will stack over time, but the main driving factor is that you increase your dot damage, and you also regenerate energy whenever you kill targets. So generally really good for AoE content, but not so good for single target content. Now, with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have learned something new from this video. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll answer to the best of my ability. If you like this video, please do leave a like. It shows me I should do more of this in-depth guide videos. And lastly, do subscribe. It really helps the channel. I will be doing more videos like this in the future whenever new meta is introduced. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.